We are back, guys. It's been a little hiatus for us. Spring break happened, free agency happened. Garett moved houses, so he has a new setup, and that somehow shaved his beard off. And now he has the what kind of mustache is this? Like the
I've heard a lot of different things. I've gone from like the Ron Burgundy to, as you said earlier, the Uncle Rico. Trying out some new stuff. We'll see. I think it's in honor of baseball season. I kind of got the skiing stash going on. Same with the blue fit for the Royals, but we're trying out new things here. Always at Talkin Chop.
yeah, Royals game just finished off. Went to the 11th inning, and yeah, we
And
lost
choked as
again.
always, baby. Our hitters are just so great all the time when we're actually able to hit.
But yeah, hey guys, we're back. We're ready. Free agency recap, breakdown, new graphics. Sorry, Spotify listeners, this is Talking Chop. Let's roll that intro, as always.
Yeah, I want to just talk about that for a second.
This guy is a
It
beast
seems like he just rubs butter on himself.
because he had 2 touchdowns, baby. Garett, they called you Omni Man already. That's a good one. I like that
Dude,
one.
we will
Honestly.
take that. We will absolutely take that.
Welcome back, watchers and listeners, to the new look Talking Chop. It's a little bit more of a grassy feel. Guys, if you're listening on Spotify, highly urge you to check out the show, especially for this episode on YouTube, because today's episode is going to be very visual. We got lots of graphics for you today. I almost forgot the title card graphic because I've never had to do that before. But yeah, we're going to be going over every single free agency signing the Chiefs have made, including new faces and old faces that we brought back. We'll talk about people who left our team, like Tershawn Wharton. He
I
got
know.
paid. He got paid, though, Garett.
He got paid a lot. And I'm gonna miss him a lot because loved Turk as a player. But I mean, dude got a bag. I respect it. And he's gonna play really well. And I think he deserves that kind of contract.
So, episode 32. That's crazy. We've been doing this a lot. 32 teams in the NFL, 32 episodes of Talking Chop.
It's a big one, man.
But here we go into the free agency stuff. But before we get into that, we're gonna cover some of the little like catch up and news that we've missed. I guess hard to start it off this way, but the Xavier Worthy situation. I mean, what a scare that was. Receiving that breaking news headline, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe one of our players has made a mistake again. And then turns out, don't be quick to make decisions because this story got flipped on its head, and now Worthy is the one who is pursuing charges against his fiance, who cheated on him and kind of maybe broke his stuff and attacked him. So,
Yeah,
being a young 22-year-old and you got to watch out for stuff like that, right?
yeah. I mean, when that news initially dropped, right? It's like all Chiefs fans kind of had that same similar gut drop as we did the offseason prior with Rashee Rice, and it's like we were getting to that point where can we finally find a receiver that's not going to have off-field issues? And then obviously that whole situation got flipped, and I feel like that's why I'm happy we didn't initially jump the gun and post something and it like instantly once that news came out, because honestly, a lot of like content creators and Chiefs media kind of immediately threw Xavier Worthy under the bus and kind of definitely owe him an apology after all of like the news and all of the facts came out about that situation. But there was a lot of dudes that I saw, especially like just certain Chiefs media on Twitter that just were bashing him instantly and owe the dude an apology.
Yeah, no, for real. Let's move on to some more exciting news, guys. We've had a lot of visits, and that means that the sacred visit ticker is back. I'm going to keep this on for you guys for the entire episode. This is a list of as many names as I could fit on the ticker because the ticker is limited. These are top 30 visits official. These are combine meetings official. These are unofficial like visits too, where we send a scout to some people's pro days. But those are lesser because I only chose the bigger names for that because honestly, we have so many official visits anyway. But I mean, lots and lots and lots of offensive line. If you notice, it is apparent the Chiefs are looking for a left or right tackle, some guards too, but mostly left and right tackles. We've talked to every single left tackle or right tackle prospect, it seems, that's going in this draft. As you see a couple UDFA ones go across the bottom too, talking to Kansas one, Bryce Cable do but Essapol going on the bottom right now. Essapol out of Washington State, Garett, 6'7", allowed 0
Might be a
sacks
little
last
sneaky
year.
pick. Might be a little sneaky pick. Who knows?
Yeah, and hey, he was a Pac-12 standout, only 2 Pac-12 teams, but hey, I mean, shout out Essa Pohl. What a crazy name. But yeah, we would go over all this. Isaiah Bond's name is coming across the screen. A lot of you guys really want Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond, and that, you know, he hasn't really had the college production to back up a second round pick, which is what it will probably take to get him, but who knows? Speed kills, as they say, and he ran like a 4.35.
And I mean, look, I mean, we can trash on the guy we want, but we were saying the same things about Texas wide receiver Xavier Worthy last season and last offseason, and see how that turned out after the draft. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll have a prolific career. We'll see.
Yeah, but Worthy had like 1,000-yard seasons in college. Like
that's
Bond
also true.
Has barely cracked like 500. So we'll see. We'll see. Nebraska wide receiver Isaiah Noir popped on the bottom as well. I think it's Nair. I've been saying Noir, like it's like film noir, but I guess
like a film from the '60s. Just that kind of go hard for like a media day, like have that be like a noir kind of theme. Be kind of sick.
All right, guys, let's get into the free agents. We got our second scene up. This is the graphics, dude. Oh, it knocks off the ticker. You know what? That's fine. You guys don't need that distracting us.
We don't need the ticker.
Hollywood Brown comes back on a 1-year deal. Garrett, this is a big one. This is a good one.
It's a big one. We wanted him to come back, and I mean, we got him for a good deal as well. Just hoping to finally get that full season production out of him. Show us what he can do when he gets like a full 17, 18 games under his belt. Hopefully more when it goes to the playoffs. But I really like the signing. He was one of the guys that we wanted coming back, and I'm glad we got him.
Yeah, this is one we got correct. We said he was going to come back. He did. Jackson, he's not with us today, our stats man, but he did put a spreadsheet together of all of our old predictions, and Hollywood Brown we got right, so that was nice. And this rounds out. We finally get to see what Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown look together. We did not get to see that at all last year, so hopefully those three get to play a game together because I miss it. So
really any game. I mean, we know Rashee's number of games we'll be playing next season is kind of up in the air, but we'll at least have a couple games during the season where our wide receiver core is full and ready to go. So
DeAndre Hopkins goes to the Ravens. I did not see this one happening at all. Like, I mean, and so quickly too did he find a home.
That was a really tough one for me because I mean he's been one of my favorite players forever.
Of him.
And I have his jersey, but obviously hate to see him go. Him and Veach probably just went back and forth. They disagreed. He wanted a little bit more probably, and the Ravens were absolutely willing to give that to him. But I think
Ravens
he fits in
kind of. Sign old receivers, it feels like.
But I feel like especially with the Ravens, right? Like I feel like that kind of receiving talent that he has is kind of what they're missing. Just kind of more of that bigger body kind of guy. They've had a lot of speed demons out there, but I think he'll fit in pretty well with the Ravens culture over there.
Yeah, we had him as a possibly on our if we should re-sign him thing. So, I mean, I'm going to count that as an L for us because I did think we were going to bring him back.
I wanted
him
back.
You did too. So, Juju Smith-Schuster, this is one we said we didn't think we were going to bring back. But honestly, it was kind of one or the other. We wanted Hopkins more than Juju, but you needed a veteran presence. Juju Smith-Schuster, crazy enough, is a veteran at this point in his career. And he was solid and did honestly... I mean, he did the first catch in the Super Bowl, and it looked like we were going to do some great things in that Super Bowl.
And then it just fell apart,
Yep.
We don't need to rehash a lot of those hard feelings, but I mean, Juju has had his some of his best production on the Chiefs, and hopefully we can get like we said, a full season out of him, get him back into the swing of things, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Moving on to Mecole Hardman. This was one I didn't see us bringing back, especially with the emergence of Nico Remigio. Stud kick returner, Filipino UDFA. But I mean, Hardman has been the guy that everyone will either love or hate. Like they've had such high expectations for him ever since he got drafted over DK Metcalf, and then he got a lot of injuries. Honestly, let's be real. And then he's been our most solid kick returner after some struggles with Kadarius Toney and such. But then we got Remigio. And I think that Mecole Hardman just lost his job right then and there. I did not expect him to bring him back. We didn't. Packers is a surprising one for me, honestly. Like, I have a friend who's a Packers fan, and he said they needed a new kick returner because their kick returner wants to be a full-time corner now. But like, dude, that's just a crowded wide receiver room of like young,
there's a lot of
good guys.
Yeah, and I just don't think he really takes top priority over the guys that they already have, right? Like, I mean, obviously, if they are just drafting him to play kick returner, I guess that's fine. But I mean, like you said, with such a kind of top heavy room with a lot of young guys, I just don't see him really getting any playing time on the field.
Yeah. Justin Watson to the Texans. This one's actually really good for the Texans. They needed a dependable wide receiver when all of their top wide receivers went down and got injured last year. You got to fill out the back half of the roster. Justin Watson does a lot of good things for you, especially on special teams and especially just in the locker room. So shout out Texans. We didn't think we would bring him back according to our predictions, but I certainly am going to miss him. So you can't say that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about him a lot on the show, and I've always kind of alluded him to being like the offense's version of Dan Sorensen, just kind of having like a clutch moment every couple of games, and then just kind of coasting off in the background until he's ready to come back and make a clutch play in like the fourth quarter. He just seems to always have like one big catch every couple of games, but it keeps us in a lot of situations, and I hope the best for him.
All right. Now we got two guys who have not made a decision yet. Most of the free agents have been assigned to teams, but obviously there are some guys that just won't get signed until it's after the draft when you absolutely need this player. Funny enough, I mean, I'm just going to skip ahead and say Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is not going to find a home until after this draft because I think there's like 10 quarterbacks in the draft people would rather have than Carson Wentz right now as their backup. So if one of those teams doesn't get him, we could see Carson going somewhere else. But not to dog on Carson too much because he had so much promise in his early career. But, man, definitely one of the worst Chiefs backups in the Mahomes era, in my opinion. I mean, Matt Moore and Chad Henne I'd rather have. I wasn't a big fan of Blaine Gabbert either. But
I still would have rather had Shane Buechele, but, we can keep talking about that regardless.
Man, I miss Shane Buechele.
I just feel like, obviously not putting away what Carson Wentz did in the past. I mean, he was putting on an MVP season until he got injured. And then obviously, history wrote itself and the Eagles went on to win a Super Bowl with their backup. But I'm kind of done with like the old veterans that Andy likes to bring in to have play backup quarterback. I like the direction we're going in now with, our boy Gardner Minshew, also, throw to the mustache. But
that's what I was gonna say. It's a Minshew stash.
I'm liking that a lot more. It's a Minshew stash, but I'm liking the direction we're going with in terms of our backup, at least a lot better than these old kind of just ready to retire backups.
Yeah, I agree completely. We could talk more about Gardner Minshew and Bailey Zappi later, but Peyton Hendershot, Jody Fortson. Jody Fortson was kind of like an emergency, like bring him in kind of guy when all of our tight ends started getting injured. So we really weren't expecting to bring him back, and I don't expect us to bring him back. Peyton Hendershot's interesting because we traded for him, and then he still doesn't have a home. Dude, that was Cam Thomas and Peyton Hendershot, two players we traded a 7th-round pick for this year, and just didn't make the team midway through the season. So tough luck. I mean, Peyton Hendershot finished the season with us, but he had injuries too.
As much as I would love to bring back a guy like Jody Fortson, I just feel like in terms of guys that we could draft or guys that we already have, I just feel like we're kind of full at that position. And Fortson's just kind of made of glass. I feel like we have yet to see him really play at all. But I think if he had, consistently stayed healthy, I think he'd still be on the roster and be pretty good. But the dude never plays, so.
And then moving on to Samaje Perine. He's back with the Bengals. He had some really clutch plays with us, but we really didn't use him as much as I would have liked us to. Makes sense we moved on from him, but I really love Samaje Perine and his time here with KC. So only good things to say about Mr. Perine.
Yeah, I think if we hadn't had to have moved Joe Thuney out to left tackle and kept him at left guard, and our run game hadn't suffered due to that fact, I think Samaje Perine would have had a much better season, but just with the way the dominoes fell, I just the usefulness we had got out of him was kind of taken back a bit from that.
Now I don't remember. Now this next guy, I don't remember if we said we were going to bring him back.
We said bring him back.
Did we? Let's see.
We said we were going to bring him back post draft, but we brought him back early. So I mean, we're big Kareem Hunt lovers out here. I know we got Kareem Hunt lovey-dovey in the chat going crazy, but the dude balled out. I mean, he's got an immense pressure. I mean, he's always bringing that energy to the locker room, and he just wants to play and wants to win. I feel like he's finally just content with where he is. I don't think he wanted to leave in the first place, so I'm happy that he's back.
I mean, yeah, it's a great re-signing. have him now as the veteran running back in that room. He takes the job of, we've had Jerick McKinnon, we've had P. Ryan, kind of as more receiving back veterans. Kareem Hunt, less so of a receiver. He was in his early days, though, Garett. He really was. Maybe we can unlock that again. Only 29 years old, but he joins a very competitive running back room of Isaiah Pacheco and our new running back, Elijah Mitchell. And I expect us to draft a fourth running back to compete in that room. And yes, we still have Carson Steele, but he really kind of is primarily a fullback guy. Carson Steele might be on the roster bubble next season. Would kind of stink, but nobody is for certain next year. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a definite chance that depending on who we draft and how it falls, I think Kareem has a chance to get to that RB1 spot. But with guys like Isaiah Pacheco finally getting a full offseason to rehab from his injury, get his strength back up to where it needs to be full contact. Who knows if Elijah Mitchell stays a full season? I expect possibly us drafting Devin Neal as well from KU, but we'll see. I would love to see Devin Neal in red though.
I bet you would. I mean, honestly, I think it's going to be running back by committee next year. So let's go to the next slide. Justin Reed's gone. I mean, we kind of expected it.
Yeah, we did expect it, but I mean, that's just a tough one. I mean, he was a captain on the defense and guy that was always where he was supposed to be, and just kind of teaching these younger guys where you need to be. But I mean, hey, Saints continuing that process of just poaching all of our DBs, man. I mean, they took Sorensen. They took Honey Badger. It's just like, how many more are you going to take? And they took, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. Binky, Colin Saunders. So.
Oh, yes. No, and they took Willie Gay, too.
Saints are just Chiefs 2.0, man.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Justin Reed, I think was probably the most obvious. We can't afford to keep this player, and we have young rookie Jaden Hicks behind him ready to play. I was surprised at how many people on Chiefs Twitter were not expecting this move. But I mean, guys, money is a thing and it does exist. And we tend to get rid of safeties once they hit that upper 28 to 30 age. Justin Reed was a great player when we had him. Great kicker too. So I'm gonna miss that. But
I just feel like a lot of people were expecting the opposite of what we're about to talk about, in which we brought back Nick Bolton.
Yes,
right?
That's true.
I think that was the big conversation, right? It's like, are they bringing back Reed or are they bringing back Bolton? I think we got it right where we said we were getting rid of Reed and we were bringing back Bolton. And I think we both agreed Bolton is just that much more valuable to our defense as it stands right now. I mean, he is the absolute brains of the defense when we're out on the field. When it comes to those 11 guys, he is the guy. He's the director, right? He is the coach on the field. And I feel like a lot of Chiefs fans that, from what I've seen, they just don't like Nick Bolton for some reason, even though, I mean, he's been a phenomenal player for us.
I think they don't like the money he got is really what it came down to.
Which even then, it's like
a year is a lot. But
it's a lot, but in my eyes, right, it's like, sure, when it comes to pass coverage, right, like, you'd like, your top middle linebacker to be, a little bit better, but when it comes to secure tackling, being where he needs to be, run fitting, I mean, he is just an unstoppable force in the middle, and I think he got what he deserved.
Yeah, I mean, very fair, and also, too, that run defense has literally 19 straight games of not allowing an 100-yard rusher. It's one of my favorite stats, even though we lost the Super Bowl. We held Saquon to under 100 yards. So.
We did get that prediction correct. I did say that, but did it matter in the end? Absolutely not. But yeah.
All right, we got a couple special teamers here, Jack Cochran and Cole Christensen. Kind of group them together. I mean, they're both like the literal fifth or fourth or fifth linebacker on the roster, depending on who's on the active roster, who's on the practice squad at the given time. But they're both really solid, like, special teamers, and that's why they get to stick around in the league, because if you can play special teams, you're going to stick around the league. I said Cochran was coming back. We didn't actually make a prediction on Christensen. I looked back at our video, but hey, I mean, Big Cock is back.
This is true.
Big Jack.
I mean, but yeah, when they had their playing time, they played pretty well in the snaps they got. But I mean,
the preseason,
happy to bring him back. Got him back for cheap. So this is true.
Spencer Schrader.
We said he would be gone. I'm kind of sad because I did like Spencer Schrader. The guy was pretty locked in for us when our boy went down, but went to the Colts. I mean, they've been having kicking.
We didn't say he'd be gone. We said we'd keep him. I'm just looking at the spreadsheet.
Did we really?
But, yeah, we both said we'd keep him.
Well,
But I
that's
mean,
fair.
I wanted to keep him. I thought we could train him up. But I mean, he deserves to be a starting kicker. So, dang, that's tough. But dude, he was good. He was really good. He was
Locked in.
He did one game for us before he got injured in practice. But hey, I mean, if he can stay healthy, the Colts got themselves some competition. The Colts have 2 kickers, though, too, because they still have Gay. They still have Matt Gay as their kicker. So he's going to have to compete for that job. Somebody who we knew was coming back. This might have been the lock of free agency for me, honestly. Matt Araiza, baby. That starting punter, he had an amazing season. I mean, he's also very affordable. So, and he was an RFA, which is like basically he's going to come back. So,
yeah,
Matt Araiza, punt god. What else is there to say, Garrett?
I mean, the guy was a lights out at punter for us, so I'm happy he's back. We got him for a good deal as well, so
he got to play a lot in the Super Bowl.
This is true. He had a lot of reps in the Super Bowl. Definitely needed him there.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to talk about the Super Bowl so much, but I mean, this whole offseason is to rebuild that offensive line and to fix that stuff. Wow, we need to kind of like breeze through this because we're already 21 minutes. We haven't even gotten to our new guys yet. So
yeah, we have a lot of dudes to talk about.
Yeah,
speed run time.
James Winchester, that's our
long snapper. Brought him back. Why not? Awesome.
Longest tenured player that we've had. So in terms of right now, Derek Nottie, we were right on this one. We didn't think he was going to come back. We have literally signed him to like 1-year deals, like 3 years in a row. It's felt like, but the Jets, I guess, need to bolster their D line. I don't really think Nottie has much to give at this point in his career anymore. Someone who does though, Mike Pennell, even at his old age, Mike Pennell,
we were so right.
Defenders.
Bring him back. We are big Mike Pennell fans on here. Okay, we love Mike Pennell.
Garrett, I ordered a jersey. He told me to order the jersey. Mike Pennell DM'd me. He said he might sign it. I don't.
Fan of the show, Mike Pennell.
I don't even mind if he signs it. 69 Pennell, like so funny, so good of a jersey. And I mean,
he's just a great personality on the team, and I mean he brings a really big run stopping element as well to the defense. And I mean
he's just been Trent Williams too in the Super Bowl last year.
I mean, he's just been a staple with us for a long time, and I'm happy that he's sticking around.
And then we got Marlon Tuipulotu. I mean, this is a guy who surprised me that we brought him back. I guess maybe he might not make the 53-man roster next year, but we brought him back because of the depth issues at the D line. We're going to talk about that later, about how we want to draft defensive line very bad. But Marlon was a healthy scratch like every game, so I guess he just knows the system. He's come back. So. But let's get on to the final slide. Trey Smith got the franchise tag. He still has the franchise tag. Surprisingly, he hasn't gotten that extension that's been rumored. We've been talking about, updating this for forever. But yeah, he hasn't gotten the extension.
And I mean, Veach is obviously, in the background making a ton of deals. And I mean, Trey Smith, so we'll talk about this too. I mean, obviously, traded away Joe Thuney. It was always going to be one or the other, right? Are we going to stick with the proven veteran, or are we going to put all of our chips on Black and vote on the young guy with a lot of talent? And we decided to put it all on Black, right? And Trey Smith, he's been a phenomenal player for us. Near the end of the season, I mean, he had his struggles, with penalties and all that, but I mean, other than that, he's been rock solid over there with Creed Humphrey. So I'm happy about the extension. Hopefully that gets done soon, but I understand why we went with one over the other.
We're going to talk about our newly signed Jaylon Moore later, but Trey Smith has what I think you've noticed in Jaylon Moore a lot, which is just like Trey Smith wants to finish a block. Like he wants to look for someone to flatten, and he's not going to give up if he starts getting beat. And that's something that
he has that dog in him. And obviously Joe Thuney does as well, but Trey Smith has that young factor. He wants to go out there. He wants to prove himself, same as Jaylon Moore. And he's going to be, fighting and chomping at the bit every single opportunity he has to go out there and finish blocks. So,
well, let's talk about the Joe Thuney trade. A quick interruption here with our Joe Thuney trade slide. What a fleece, low key, by the Bears. I mean, listen, it takes away $16 million of cap space. That is huge. We needed the cap space bad to even function in the offseason. But once we got that cap space, Veach was able to start working magic. He needed to sell Joe Thuney at a loss in order to make any of these moves that we just made happen.
Right.
But a 4th rounder next year, come on. I thought at least this year, at least this draft,
Yeah,
especially because we don't have a 5th or 6th.
When I saw that trade initially, I was like, okay, I saw the 4th, and I was like, okay, this is fine. Move up a lot of cap space. We're gonna be able to make some deals done. Yada yada yada. And then obviously more details broke out that it was next year's 4th, and I was like, well, are we really gonna be that excited about a 4th round pick next year? Obviously, we're gonna come back to this exact video a year and a half from now, right? After we draft that 4th rounder, and maybe he turns out to be really good, and we're like, oh well, hey, we won the trade. But I mean, that's the future, and we're kind of in. I mean, I wouldn't say we're in win now mode, but it's like we want guys that we can just put on the field and see what we want to do. And Joe Thuney, he was playing well enough that I think he deserved a little bit more of compensation. But I mean, got to sell at a loss when you're at the pinnacle, right?
I guess. I mean, but this is a guy that literally saved the season. Like, this guy went out to left tackle to save the season. And I don't want to say it's disrespectful to trade him, because at the end of the day it is a business, but it was just a shocking move. And I mean,
yeah,
everyone's saying, oh, it makes the offensive line worse immediately and all this stuff. And I mean, we've survived the Tyreek Hill trade. We had to blow up that wide receiver room that one year we did the Tyreek Hill trade. We've had to blow up the offensive line before. People forget we cut Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher in the same offseason.
And it still rehabbed it, and we got better.
And then the next offseason we got what? We got Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey,
Orlando Brown
and
Jr.
Joe Thuney all in that same offseason. Yep. And Orlando Brown Jr., you're right. We got 4 new offensive linemen. Yeah. And then Andrew Wiley was still holding it down at right tackle, who, I mean, honestly.
And yeah, it's all going to come down to, where the pieces fall at the start of the season. Who is our front 5 when it gets going? And a lot of people are like, why couldn't we keep Joe Thuney and still do the things we're doing, right? It's like, we had the best interior O-line in football. I don't think that's a debate. That's just a fact. You can't have that and eat your cake too, right? Like, we can't have our interior 3 be the top of their game and also have really, really high paid and well-proven tackles. And obviously, our biggest issue was tackle play last year. I don't think anyone's going to debate that either. When it comes to the value from the Joe Thuney trade, I mean, do I think the Bears were in a position to kind of fleece us like that? No, I think they were honestly kind of desperate for offensive line help. And for a guy that's so well proven like Thuney, I think we could have gotten a bit more for him. But I mean, I'm not the one, making the phone calls at 3 a.m. trying to make these trades go down and knowing all these little intricate
early
details.
Morning trade, honestly.
It wasn't an early morning trade. But obviously I'm really sad that he's gone. But putting our money and our chips on the younger guy that I think can excel into a position where he is maybe at the level of Joe Thuney, I think it's a smart move.
In Trey Smith, just to clarify.
In Trey Smith.
We got a lot, yes. Back to the list. DJ Humphries, the left tackle that was supposed to make it so that Joe Thuney did not have to go out to left tackle, unfortunately got injured after a severe injury that kept him out of the NFL for about a year and a half. Came back from that torn ACL and just hurt it again, I guess.
Yeah.
But he remains a free agent. We'll see if we bring him back or not. I personally don't think we should. We have a lot of young guys.
We have him in the cut. We said he wasn't going to come back. So that's to be determined. But I agree. I don't think we need to bring him back. Even with the tackle issues we're at, I just don't think he solves the issue that we're having.
Everybody's favorite cornerback, Najee Johnson. We brought him back. We said we'd bring him back because y'all don't like him, but he's a really athletic and talented defensive back that can play safety and corner and slot, which is what Veach likes. He likes a versatile DB. He's still very young. He was a 7th round pick. Let's chill out when he was forced to be the corner.
Let's relax, right? I mean, he was playing pretty much out of position from what he was used to. He's being forced, as a 7th round pick into a situation where you have to be the number 2 cornerback going into the Super Bowl, right? The pressure was instantly on, and we just got to let the guys develop, right? I mean, we don't draft guys and then just kick them to the curb if they have one bad game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let the kid develop. I think we're going to draft some DBs. Our DBs are getting healthier, obviously, with Jalen Watson. Sorry. Jalen Watson coming back. I mean, he was still, rehabbing that injury. Now we have Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson fully coming back at 100%. And then
we got a new corner.
Kristian Fulton. Talk about him in a second. But Najee Johnson will be able to sit behind them and, take a little bit of the pressure off being, a premier corner that
And also,
we weren't
guys,
expecting him to be.
He's a special teams guy. Dave Tobe gets to pick his guys that he wants for special teams. I think he gets 4 roster spots is what they say. And Najee is definitely one of those guys. Keith Taylor couldn't really play special teams, and that's going to get you out of the league if you can't be corner 4.
If you're not going to play on the field and you're not going to help on special teams, you're not going to play. That's just kind of how the rules are, right? If you're not good enough to be on the field during the main action, and you're also not good enough to be on the field when you're in the intermediary, I'm sorry, buddy. You're gonna,
you're gonna go to the
Chinese. You're gonna go to the Falcons, true. But
Tershawn Wharton. Sorry. I want to move on. Tershawn Wharton.
We talked about him. That was sad.
UDFA, Missouri S&T, hometown kid, gets his bag. Honestly, he gets paid. And how much did the Panthers pay him? It was close to I can look it up right now.
It was an astronomical amount. An amount that we were not ever going to be able to pay him.
Maybe teams learned their lesson because Mike Dana got slept on that one year, and we were able to get him back for a really cheap deal. I don't think they let that same thing happen with Tershawn Wharton. Oh my!
No, they're like we know this guy's a dog, and we're going to pay him like a dog.
He got a 3-year, $45 million contract. He makes $15 million a year now. So, that's as much money as we saved from the Joe Thuney trade. Just for y'all to put that into perspective. So, Tershawn Wharton could be now. He's alongside Derek Brown, which is really good for the Panthers. That's more of a run-stuffing defensive tackle. He's a pass rush specialist with Wharton. That combo maybe could make Wharton...
It might be nasty.
...earn his money back or look like it's worth the money. So I'm rooting for him heavily next year.
Absolutely.
Especially because the Panthers are no threat to us. So, I have no problem we're rooting for a 20-sack Wharton season.
Just thank God he didn't go to, the Chargers or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, a shout-out Panthers. Good pay. Charles Omenihu's back. We kind of called this one. I mean, listen, Omenihu he's really not gotten to show in his 2 years here that he is that guy. He's just been hurt. He hasn't been hurt. He got suspended when we got him, and then he got hurt in the AFC Championship game, missing the Super Bowl, and then he's finally coming back this season after I think he tore his ACL, so that's a huge injury to come back from. So next year will finally be a healthy season and hopefully a suspension-free season for Omenihu. Texas guy, I love Omenihu. He's a great pass rusher. He's got length, which is what Spags loves. If you notice, all of Spags' D
very,
ends
very
are
prototypical
long.
Spags D end.
Now, speaking of prototypical Spags D ends, the opposite, Josh Uche, is now an Eagle. So he was a healthy scratch a lot of games.
He watched that Super Bowl. He said, "You know what? I'm going over there, and you can go do cardio over there, buddy." That's all I'm gonna. I mean, that's pretty much all you did for us. So, I mean, we said he wasn't coming back, and we were.
And that hurts too, because I don't want to dog on Uche. I thought he was going to be an amazing steal for us. I was really high on Uche. I thought he was going to do some stuff, and honestly, I think it's just a scheme issue. I don't think he fits our scheme. He is more of a Nolan Smith build, I guess, so the Eagles will have another guy like that. I bet you he's going to have a 4 to 5 sack season next year with the Eagles. I just think he's still a talented player. He just doesn't fit what Spagnuolo likes to do. And so for that reason, he didn't get to play. Speaking of, and then we got Malik Herring, who is a guy that Spags does like. He's been around for a while. I feel like we've had him for 3 to 4 years now, but he just keeps barely making that roster. I feel like he's always one of those last roster spots, but hey, there's a lot to be said for a guy who can stick around, and he's honestly had a lot better of a season this year. I think he finally got an NFL sack either this year or last year, so
yeah.
And shout out to Herring, just a good depth piece to have. We can finally move on, Garrett, to the new guys. Let's welcome in our brand new Kansas City Chiefs from other teams. Starting out with Jaylon Moore, the backup left tackle for the San Francisco 49ers, a 5th-round draft pick out of Western Michigan. But he was behind Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles in the league right now. Will be a Hall of Famer. So a really good teacher for Mr. Jaylon Moore. What else is there to be excited about Mr. Moore?
Yeah, so, I mean, when it comes to Jaylon Moore, I'm honestly kind of shocked that we were able to get him from the 49ers, especially with Trent Brown getting up there in age. And obviously, Jaylon Moore came in after Trent Brown went down with an injury.
You mean Trent
And
Williams?
Trent Williams, sorry, not Trent Brown. That's another big
That-
dude. But
Yes.
anyway, so some high points for Jaylon Moore. I mean, for guys that are a little bit nervous or worried about the tackle position for the Chiefs. 0 penalties in the 271 snaps he played. That's already exponentially better than both of the tackles that we had starting last season. So huge plus for that. A 6.2 pressure rate, 6.2% pressure rate on his true pass blocking snaps, which, if you guys don't know about kind of percentages, really low, and he's been playing really well on the outside. True left tackle, has only played left tackle throughout his 49ers in college career. I think he might have played like 10 snaps at left guard or something for like a quick change, but that's besides the point.
He played some right tackle, but it wasn't well,
Yeah, no.
and that's fine.
1 sack and 2 hits allowed in 159 dropbacks. Really, really great stats there. The guy is just really solid on the outside, has a good anchor. What I like about Jaylon Moore is that when he gets beat on the outside, as we've seen our tackles get beat on the outside significantly, he is not I'm just going to, open my hips and just give up on the block, right? Once he sees that guy turn the corner, he is in full sprint mode, trying his best to just finish a block and run a guy out of the field and out of the way of Mahomes, predicting him to start, obviously. But another big thing, kind of like a little fun fact at the end of our little Jaylon Moore sesh, played with Chiefs legend Mike Caliendo in college, so kind of a little tidbit there. We have another Western Michigan Bronco that we don't like talking about here. But
did Sky Moore play with Caliendo?
I don't know.
I
don't think he played with them, but I think he was the class before.
Okay, but yeah,
So.
I mean, a lot of Western Michigan Broncos on the Chiefs. Three of them.
3
actually.
Western
That's
Michigan
crazy.
Broncos. You'd think we would stop drafting Broncos considering we're the Chiefs, but I don't know.
Well, I'm excited. The deal was good. It was $15 million for 2 years. It's a really affordable left tackle.
Yeah, very affordable.
If he isn't a home run hit, we are not stuck with him like we are with Jawan Taylor. So
It's a prove it deal through and through. It's a prove it deal through and through. And hey, who knows, if he plays really well, we might see him get extended furthermore
Next
in the
year.
future. So,
well, we brought another Niner over because you can't just have one Niner. You got to have two. And the Niners were just giving away their players anyway this offseason. That's another thing we talk about later, but I actually don't think that the Niners offseason was bad at all. Everyone thinks that, oh no, they're going to suck now that they lost all their star players. Dude, they have like a million comp picks. They're going to draft.
they always have so many comp picks, dude.
They're going to be just fine. They kept the core guys, they paid the core guys, and all the other guys were.
And they're just going to reload on young talent. That's all that's what they do every time. And people fall for it every time. They're like, oh, they just lost all their. No. They're just reloading every year. It happens every time.
Honestly, we do that too. So people think the same with us as well. They're like, "Oh my gosh, look at all these Chiefs leaving," and now, it's just we're gonna draft some studs. Like in this mock draft. But who knows? Anyway, Elijah Mitchell, holy cow, 1,000-yard runner in 2021, which is insane. I mean, 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. So Elijah Mitchell definitely has that in the tank, but injuries have really barred his career the last 2 years. Now, that's kind of interesting to bring him into a room with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, who have also kind of been banged up a little bit with their injuries, but I fully expect us to draft somebody to have some new, fresh legs. But, I mean, Mitchell's probably like a good amount removed from that injury by now, so he could be a contributor, but I like the signing. I think he's a solid running back for a good price.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like we said, it's going to be running back by committee, so we'll see what he can do. Hopefully he can stay healthy and get a full season out of him.
Now we got Kristian Fulton, cornerback out of LSU, went to the Titans and then Chargers last year. He finally had like his breakout year with the Chargers last season. He's been pretty injury prone, honestly, with his Titans career. And then famously, he did get an interception against the Chiefs. That's his lone interception last year. And it was the Rashee Rice play. So
it was the Mahomes deciding to obliterate Rashee Rice's kneecap play. Which, I mean, interesting circle of life there, I guess, when it comes to football. But
I guess we saw something in him. I think he was a guy I really liked out of the draft at LSU. Almost was ready to label him a bust though. But I mean, hey, late career resurgence with the Chargers. I mean, we saw enough to give him a lot of money. $10 million, 2 years, 20 million, 10 a year. I mean, that's some big time corner money, especially when we don't really pay corners usually. We usually draft them and we rarely sign them. So, Kristian Fulton, you got a lot to live up to, but I think he's going to be really, really good for us. I mean, you already see like Titans and Chargers fans going like, haha, but
guys, we have a really great defensive coordinator. Obviously, he saw something in him, and he's going to put him to his best ability wherever he is on the field. So,
speaking of best ability wherever he is on the field, whether that be in the locker room or the practice squad or the practice field, we get to see preseason Gardner Minshew on the Chiefs, and I cannot wait. Garrett, you do have the Gardner Minshew mustache right now.
His is a little bit longer, maybe a little bit bushier than mine.
You gotta get the long hair now.
I'm absolutely not. I'm not getting long hair. But I'm honestly really thrilled with this signing. I'm just so tired of watching old, decrepit backup quarterbacks play. Even in preseason, they're just boring. They don't take risks. And Gardner Minshew is a guy that he's going to go out there and give you every single bit of energy that he has when he's trying to play, especially. I mean, when he was playing for the Jags and we all knew they were tanking for that lone draft pick, he was still trying his best to go out and win those games. And they benched him for it. They benched Gardner Minshew for wanting to win games, right? That's the kind of energy we need in the locker room. And I'm really excited to see how he does.
Yeah, this guy's going to be hungry, and that honestly will be a good thing for this. Like I was saying, we need to get rid of a lot of our backups and get some fresh, new, young faces who just light a fire underneath the starters. And I mean, Gardner Minshew is going to turn heads in training camp and stuff. And people are saying, oh, well, he's bad when he's been a starter with the Raiders and that and stuff. That Raiders roster is one of the worst things ever. Like, yeah, I really feel bad. Like, Minshew did not have a fair shake at trying to redeem a career of something. He was great with the Jags when he had some weapons, and he's been, great in games with the Eagles when he had to step in, with the Colts when he's had to step in. But I mean, either way, we started Gardner Minshew, and that's the funniest thing. We started the whole Minshew thing. It was week 1, Sammy Watkins. I actually, for some reason, have this pulled up right now. The score of the game. This is like a little preview of when we do our score recaps. But this was week 1, Sammy Watkins, Nick Foles goes down, Gardner Minshew steps in, and
Minshew Mania is born, man.
He puts points on the board. Listen, he put points on the board.
Yes, did he get blown out? Yeah, but that's not his fault. He doesn't play defense. 26 as his first start. It's not bad.
Nick Foles came in, and it's mostly Nick Foles' fault. So, yeah, I mean, hey, look forward to those new score graphics in the future. Bailey Zappi, we wanted him really bad. We've been playing tag with him in the Browns. We signed him from the Patriots when the Patriots cut him. We put him on our practice squad. We thought he'd be safe there. The Browns said, no, we are really bad at quarterbacking, so we need him. The Browns stole him off our practice squad last year, signed him, started him. He did really bad, but that's because he barely had the playbook. And I don't know, it's the Browns.
Browns.
Now he's back. So the circle of Bailey Zappi. I expect him and Oludokin to compete for that QB3 practice squad spot again. We only brought Oludokin back because Zappi got stolen from us. So Zappi's won that battle before. I expect him to win it again. Clearly, we like him, so we want him back.
Our front office and our coaches see something in him, and we keep fighting for him. So I hope he goes out there and performs well, wins that third spot. But I fully expect Mahomes and Minshew to be the 1 and the 2 going forward.
Now, here's another guy that was a Charger, played with the Vikings last year, but this was a first-round draft pick out of the Chargers. This is Veach's favorite thing to do. It's to pick up first-round draft picks after they've kind of not been as great in the NFL.
He likes to draft people that are considered busts a little bit and then make them hopefully not busts. Same thing that happened with Mike Hughes a couple of years ago, and obviously he played pretty decently well for us. And he just signed a pretty big contract though, didn't he?
He signed a little one with the Falcons.
He signed a good one.
It wasn't crazy, but DeAndre Baker, who is another one of our projects, is in the XFL now. So sometimes it
Yeah.
really doesn't work out.
Sometimes it does not work out, but sometimes it does. And hopefully Jerry Tillery is on the does category.
And I think he will be, because I've always thought that he's played out of position. He's like a tweener D-end edge, you know? They put him at edge in the Chargers scheme, but he's a bigger interior defensive tackle kind of guy. He would be a defensive tackle in Spag's pass rush sets. I think he's more in line with a Tershawn Wharton than he is, say, a George Karlaftis. So he's in between there.
He's going to be the guy that's floating between like the 4-eye and the 3 spot. Just kind of like not holding up and clogging that like thick middle, like in a 1 or a 2 or a shade, right? But he'll be on like that in between, not fully on the outside, but he'll be like right inside the tackle, right over the guard kind of situation. But I'm excited
and that's
to see
where
how
he
he
plays
plays.
his best. And I think our scheme fits him better, so that'll be good. And then Robert Rochelle, I mean, dude, what a way to end it off. This is just a special teamer.
Just,
Listen,
special teamer, little depth pick.
He had an interception with the Rams in like 6 starts. His rookie season with the Rams, he was actually pretty good. He's only been in the league 3 years, but he's a special teamer through and through. He's a really good special teamer. I think he's going to push like the Nick Jones out of the lineup kind of deal, because we do need some special teamers on that back end of our roster. And that wraps up, Garrett, the entirety of everybody who we have in the
I mean, we've been gone a little bit, had to kind of recap and refocus our thoughts. I mean, obviously next episode is going to be huge going to the draft. We're going to have a lot of might even do like 1 or 2, probably just 1 mock draft, just give us our picks on players that we really want to see coming into the team, coming into this draft. But we got a lot of dudes and had a lot of dudes left. So
someone said, did Garrett and Andy Reid switch facial hair in the chat?
Yes, we did. So it was actually a little longer before I trimmed it again. And I was like, you know what? I think I look a little too much like Andy Reid, especially with the size and all. But I think the shorter looks a little better. I don't need the walrus just yet.
Next week we'll probably do a mock draft live on the show. I think that'll be like the best use of our time. We could talk prospects for a little bit, but we could also just do a live mock with you guys, and I think that'll be really fun. So we'll be sure to advertise it a little bit more than just randomly impromptu going live on a Wednesday at 5:00 when none of you all were expecting it. So we'll be sure to do like a little announcement that, hey, we're doing a community mock draft. You guys will go pick by pick with us and kind of say, no, I want to get this guy. And I mean, dude, there's a lot of opinions. I have my mock draft that I can show you, but I mean, first we got a word from something.
Word from our sponsor. As you guys know, we've been sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, and they got a couple different deals going on right now. I mean, if you're into basketball, they've got specials on guys like Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Totally butchered that last name. But if you're more like in the Kansas City area and you watch Royals baseball, I believe the 9th, we're going to have Bollywood Jr. at 0.5 plate appearances. Hit that higher like I will be. And use our code UHC for a deposit match up to $1,000.
All right. Welcome back.
We're always
Elijah
good with
Mitchell.
the sponsor.
Oh my gosh. I accidentally did the Elijah Mitchell thing. That was the graphics mishap. But all right, let's round it out with, I think, we got a little my mock draft that I whipped up this morning. Garrett, I just want to hear your thoughts on it, honestly, because, that's just a good way to run out of the show. I don't know what else to say. Here we go with the David Pokorny 1.0 mock draft. As you guys can see for your YouTube viewers, this clearly inspired the new look. The graphic inspired the new look of our show. I was just like messing around with the graphics, and I was like, oh crap, let's just make that the Talkin Chop intro. But anyway, I think we need defensive tackle. We've been talking about how we have no depth at that position. I mean, you have Jerry Tillery and Mike Pennell, and I guess Marlon behind Chris Jones, but bring Derek Harmon. We need a strong defensive tackle, and a lot of the offensive linemen. This is a scenario where the left tackles we want are gone. No Josh Simmons, no Kelvin Banks. Everybody gets taken early, but you take the best player available, and that's Derek Harmon. And I am happy with the Kansas City kid, Ariante Ursary, who falls to you maybe in the second round. I saw someone in the comments say we shouldn't take a left tackle if they fall out of the first round because they're a bust.
Okay.
I understand. But they're probably still mad about the Kingsley and the Wanye. But like, there are lots of good tackles, like the one we literally just signed, Jaylon Moore, who was a 5th-round pick.
5th-round tackle, and he's going to be pretty decent for us. So,
yeah, but
I mean, and even if we get to round 2 and we get Arianza Irsay, I think he'd be a great pick there. Local kid, so that's always a fun little storyline to add as well. But I mean, I know you personally think we're probably going to trade back. I think we're probably going to trade up and get a premier tackle that we want, hopefully Kelvin Banks Jr. But we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, Garrett, I'll make your mock draft and I'll make it a yellow touchdown end zone graphic. But I'll make your mock draft here whenever you send that to me. If you want to send me one with trades, I can do that. But it's easier when you don't. So
I know.
But yeah, I mean, then we go to the 3rd round. This was the more controversial picks, but he is a guy that we've visited with already, is Kyle Kennard. He's not good at run defending. I'm just going to be straight up, but he's a really good pass rusher. We need a new D end. All of our DNs are on like the last year of their contract. They are older, and George Karlaftis is going to get a big payday. We need to get rookies at that position because we can't afford to sign 1-year deals, and we can't afford to sign like Dana's back and stuff like that. So we need to get a rookie. We need to get a good rookie. So hopefully hitting on Kyle Kennard, who's a great pass rush specialist, and the 3rd round would be great. So that's what I like him a lot. But let's talk about Kobe Bryant, the guy everybody and their mother wants the Chiefs to draft. And
everyone
Kobe
in the
Bryant
comments today, don't worry, we saw him in the comments. We were going to talk about it right now, so don't worry, we're getting to it right now.
But yeah, Kobe,
we talked about it in our last podcast episode, and we are kind of under the impression that maybe Kobe Bryant's pulling that like classic underperform a little bit at the combine on purpose, maybe fall a little bit to a position that you like, to a team you want to go to. I think Kobe Bryant is a very prototypical and very standard Spags cornerback. I mean, he just plays hard-nosed football. Guy's locked down, and I would love to see him wear red.
Absolutely. Another guy that I recently got put onto, surprised I wasn't familiar with his game earlier. This is a running back out of left field. I've been talking about guys like Devin Neal. I've been talking about guys like RJ Harvey, Trevor Etienne, like guys around this Dylan Sampson at this pick right here. But let's say all those guys are gone or not gone. Brashard Smith. This guy ran a 4.39. He went to SMU, and you know how our owner loves SMU kids. So there's a chance that he would just draft him based on that. He's a dual threat running back with, I think he had 300 receiving yards and over 1,000 rushing yards last season and 12 plus touchdowns. So very productive at SMU. Honestly, kind of going under the radar. I like him a lot. And then, I mean, we're hitting the hour, so I'll round it out. Ty Robinson out of Nebraska, another guy that you guys in the comments of this post were very excited about. I mean, hey, I'm a big Husker fan too. I actually just got my like $10 Nebraska mini helmet that I bought during a President's Day sale or something.
Nice.
So, hey, my dad went to Nebraska. I'm definitely a Nebraska fan. Watched a lot of that front seven. It's very underrated. Ty Robinson ran a fast 40-yard dash for a defensive tackle. Would be a nice get, especially with the lack of depth there. Kitten Crawford, kind of just a Spags DB. You know, he played a lot of safety just kind of everywhere. Not as much slot as I was expecting, but, you know, he plays in the box. He plays over the top. He can do it all. We definitely love to hit DBs late in the draft. I think this could be just a flyer that we take. It's just a player I like, you know. I just put him in the 7th round, you know. And then Essapool, just somebody that we had visit. I thought that'd be a great way to round it out. But
yeah, I mean, it's totally reasonable pick. You know, totally reasonable pick as well. Especially, you know, like we've talked about it before, right? It's like last season we had a lot of guys that we actually had visits with, and ended up we either drafted them or picked them up afterwards, right? So I could totally see Essapool being our round out pick.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that probably might get drafted. So, but I think we're going to have a lot of UDFAs this year. I'm starting to think that we might sign like 20 guys at UDFAs for camp and just see which one sticks.
Just test them out.
There will be a lot of fun guys to watch in camp this season, and I cannot wait for this draft. So, I mean, that rounds out this episode, Garrett. I mean, we have pretty much talked about every free agency. We definitely haven't touched on every visit, but those just keep coming in. Guys, let us know. Oh my gosh, excuse me. The Dr. Pepper's coming to fight me. Guys, let us go.
Not
let us know in
sponsored, by the way. Not sponsored by Dr. Pepper.
One day, Garrett. One day, Dr.
One
Pepper
day
will sponsor me. But hey, let us know your favorite draft prospect in the comments below. Everybody has a favorite draft prospect. Everybody's got this guy that they're watching that they think's going to be a sleeper and a steal, and they're going to be super mad when they don't draft him. I mean, and listen,
I had a couple of those last year. Yeah. Well, Isaac Garendo, man, I really wanted Isaac Garendo. He went to the Niners, and he might actually have a start next year. So
I traded for him in a fantasy football dynasty league recently. Actually, I gave up Alvin Kamara for Isaac Garendo and a first-round pick. I think the first-round pick is the more desirable part of the trade, but Garendo, dude, he's now the RB2 on the Niners. So, and everyone's talking about the Niners. They just traded away Jordan Mason too. They literally have Garendo. They are going to be so fine.
And Garendo's a dog. Garendo is literally just Pacheco. That's all that's who he is. So, I'm really excited. We have, who knows, but we have a lot of mock draft stuff coming up. Obviously big month for the NFL in terms of just content, and we're going to try and get as much as we can. Hopefully, we could probably maybe even do first round live. We're definitely going to try and do the later rounds live, but who knows? Maybe we can get a first round live.
Yeah, and we'll do that community mock draft with you guys. And hey, we'll post it too. Actually, I'll just make a graphic and be like the Talkin Chop mock draft. So we're gonna announce that soon. That'll be really fun to do. Actually, I'm kind of coming up with this on the spot, but hey,
it sounds really good. We would love to get your guys' opinion and maybe even have you guys take a pick or two. So,
no, they're gonna debate the pick. I think we got to do it where they vote on the pick. Like the classic Twitch chat vote on which pick.
All right, guys, vote on our. Should we go on Twitch? I don't know. Are we trading up to draft Kelvin Banks, or are we sitting at 31? Who knows? But we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we could do that too. We could have
that's all for future chop though. That's all for future chop.
But we're done for chopping today. You guys can, get out of the shower now, park your car in the garage, because remember to leave us a 5-star review on Spotify. Remember to check out the Instagram, Upper Hand Chiefs. Remember to check out the YouTube, where you can watch this beautifully edited version of this episode. And remember, as always, just have a good day, man, because it's tough out there, It's not sunny as much anymore, I feel like. I've seen that.
It's been raining a lot in the Kansas City area. It's been muggy and terrible, but no matter what, through rain, snow, hail, sunny days, we are always just talking chop, baby.
Always talking chop. And hopefully we get Gardner Minshew a freaking Super Bowl. See you guys.